Welcome to the Stoic Tide. You're standing in the shower again. Water's hitting your back, steam rising around you, but you're somewhere else entirely. Staring at the tile, counting nothing, thinking everything. And when you finally snap back, the water's gone cold. 20 minutes passed, maybe 30. You're not even sure anymore. Time's doing this weird thing lately where it moves, but you don't. There's a coffee mug on your desk. You poured it yesterday morning. Or was it the day before? It doesn't matter. You walk past it like it's invisible. Like you're invisible. Just going through rooms in your own life like a guest who doesn't quite belong there anymore. Your phone keeps lighting up. Someone texted that someone called. Someone sent you a meme. Probably trying to make you laugh. You see it, you read it, but your thumbs just freeze. What would you even say? I'm good. Feels like a script you can't memorize anymore. And the truth is too heavy to type, too much to explain, too exhausting to unpack. So you don't reply. And the silence grows thicker. This is what losing hope actually looks like. It's not cinematic. There's no orchestra playing while you fall to your knees in the rain. It's quieter than that, smaller, more ordinary. It's cold coffee and unreturned texts in showers that last too long. It's your alarm going off and you thinking again, like you're tired of the sun itself. Days stack on top of each other now. Same shape, same weight, same emptiness, wearing different dates. You used to have plans, dreams. That thing people call ambition. Now your age is trying to make it to Thursday, and you're not even sure why Thursday. It's just the next thing. The person you used to be feels like someone you knew in high school, someone you grew apart from, someone whose optimism and energy you remember vaguely like a story someone told you once. That version of you who thought trying hard meant winning, who believed fairness existed, who assumed love and effort were enough. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He was saying that obstacles aren't blocking your path. They are your path. But nobody tells you how that feels when you're empty. When the obstacle is the voice in your own head saying, "What's the point?" It feels like standing in a dark room you can't find the door to, like watching yourself from outside your body, wondering who that person is and why they're still pretending. But listen to me. You clicked on this video. Some part of you hasn't quit. Some small, stubborn, exhausted part is still searching, still hoping that maybe there's something that will make sense of this. Make it bearable. Make it worth it. You're not weak for feeling this way. You're human. You're not broken because hope feels impossible. You're in the middle of something that hasn't finished yet. And yeah, it looks like destruction. But sometimes what looks like death is transformation. Tearing down what doesn't work so something true can grow. This video isn't here to sell you positivity you don't believe. It's here to tell you the truth. You're still breathing. And anything that still breathes can rise again. Not today, maybe, not tomorrow, but one stubborn breath at a time. If this is landing, hit that like button, drop a comment, even just "I am still here and my story isn't over." Subscribe because we're building a space for people who are surviving when survival is the hardest thing they've ever done. And don't skip any part of this. Every word is here because you need it. Number 1, the pain you feel is building something you can't see yet. When you're drowning in pain, everyone wants to know what you're learning from it. What it's teaching you, how it's making you stronger. And you want toss screen because you're not learning anything except how much you can hurt. You're not getting stronger. You're getting destroyed piece by piece. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." He wasn't minimizing pain. He was stating a fact. The event is one thing. What you build from it is another right now. You can't see what's being built because you're still in demolition. Everything you knew about yourself is being torn down. Your assumptions about how life works. your beliefs about fairness and effort, your identity as someone who had it together, all of it crumbling. And everyone's telling you it's for a reason, that there's a purpose. But what if what if this is just what happened? Random and brutal and unfair. Here's what's still true. You get to decide what you do with it. Not whether it happened, not whether it hurts, but whether you let it make you bitter or make you deeper, whether you let it close you off or break you open. The Japanese repair broken pottery with gold. Kintsugi, the gold doesn't hide their cracks. It highlights them. It says, "This broke." And that's part of its story now. But that doesn't happen immediately. First comes the breaking, then comes sitting with the pieces. Then comes the careful work of repair. You reign the sitting with the pieces phase. You're not supposed to be beautiful yet. You're not supposed to have it figured out. You're supposed to be exactly where you are, shattered, examining the pieces, trying to understand what just happened. But here's what's also happening. You're learning your own weight. You're discovering what you're actually made of when the performance tests. You're finding out which parts of your identity were real and which were costumes you wore to make others comfortable. Every time you get out of bed when you don't want to, you're building something. Every time you choose to eat when food tastes like nothing, you're building something. It doesn't feel like building. It feels like barely surviving. But surviving is building when surviving is the hardest thing you can do. The person you're becoming won't be the same as who you were. There'll be someone who knows what it costs to keep going. Someone who understands pain in their bones. Someone who can sit with another person's darkness without trying to fix it, because they know what it's like to bear. You're collecting wisdom, depth, empathy, strength that's been tested in ways people with easy lives can't comprehend. You're becoming someone who doesn't take joy for granted, because you remember when joy seemed impossible. The pain you'll feel today is the foundation for who you'll be tomorrow. Not because pain is good, but because you're refusing to let it be meaningless. You're choosing to let it transform you instead of destroy you. And that choice, that's the beginning of everything. Leave this affirmation below. My pain is creating me power. Number 2, the people who left revealed what you couldn't see. You keep replaying it. The ones who walked away. The ones who said they'd always be there and then weren't. Theons who made you feel disposable. You think something is fundamentally wrong with you because if you were enough, they would have stayed. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." You're suffering from the story you're telling yourself about what they're leaving means. That story says you're unlovable, unworthy, fundamentally flawed. But what if that story is wrong? Here's what you're missing. Their leaving wasn't the tragedy their staying would have been. Your body kills millions of cells every day. Apoptosis. Not because they're re-diseased. Because they've served their purpose. And now they're in the way of what's trying to grow. If those cells fused to die, you'd get sick. Death of the old is necessary for health of the new. The people who left were your apoptosis relationships that already served their purpose, but you couldn't see it yet. You were holding on to connections that had expired because letting go felt like admitting you were wrong about them. Stop rewriting historigo, make them better than they were. Stop editing out the moments they made you feel small, the times they weren't there when you needed them, the ways they took more than they gave. You're mourning a version of them that mostly existed in your imagination, not who they actually were. Look at what happened when things got hard. Where were they? They revealed something you needed to know. They were there for the good version of you, the successful one, the happy one. But the real you, the struggling you, that version made them uncomfortable, so they left. And that's clarity. That's the universe doing you a favor even though it feels like punishment. Imagine if you'd spent another 5 years investing in those relationships. Imagine building your whole support system around people who only show up when it's convenient. The emptiness you feel is actually space. Space that was occupied by the wrong people. Space that needed clearing so the right people could find you. The right people don't show up when your life is perfect. They show up now in themes, in the uncertainty, in the version of you that has nothing to offer except raw, broken honesty. Those are the ones who matter. You're also discovering you were stronger alone than you thought. Every day you keep going without their validation proves you were never as dependent as you feared. There's a difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is feeling empty while attached to the ones who left. Solitude is making peace with your own company, learning you're enough by yourself. The people who left taught you how to stand alone. They taught you that some chapters end abruptly, without closure, and you have to live with the unfinished headfulling. Most importantly, they taught you how to recognize the real ones when they show up. Because now you know the difference. Stop waiting for them to come back. Stop checking if they're watching your life. Their absence is making room for your real life, for real connections, for people who don't need you to be perfect to decide you're worth knowing. Number 3, your failure wasn't a wrong turn. It was the path. You think you failed because you took the wrong road. You've mapped out all the ways you screwed up, all field-turnate versions where you made better choices and ended up somewhere else. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impedimento action advances action." What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacles blocking your path. It is your path. The thing you think you need to get around is what you need to go through. What if there was no right road? What if the idea that you should have figured it all out perfectly wastes actual mistake? Mathematician Benoit Mandelbrot discovered fractals, patterns that look chaotic up closely but reveal perfect structure when you step back. Have found them everywhere in nature. Your life is a fractal. What looks like failure right now is part of a pattern you can't see yet because you're too close. Every wrong turn taught you something you needed to know. Every mistake eliminated a path that wasn't meant for you. Every failure was the universe saying, "Not that way, but keep going." You wanted the straight line, point A to point B, clear directions, obvious progress. But life doesn't work like that for people who are supposed to do something real, something that requires depth and understanding and empathy and strength. Think about what you learned from failing. You learned what you're actually capable of surviving. You learned which ideas had real foundation versus fantasy. You learned what you actually care about versus what you thought you were supposed to want. You learned who you are when the performance stops. The people with straight-line success, they're fragile. They've never been tested. They don't know what they're made of. They're one bad day from collapse because they've never developed the muscles you're building right now. That your failure eliminated paths that would have led to a life that looked good, but felt empty. It saved you from climbing a ladder only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. But more than that, your failure made it real. Nobody connects with perfection. Nobody is inspired by Simeon who never struggled. The people who change lives have this in common. They failed hard enough to become humble. They lost enough to become grateful. They struggled enough to become strong. Every person you admire has a private story of defeat that nearly broke them. The difference isn't talent or luck. It's the decision to let failure be a chapter instead of the whole story. To say this happened, know what's next instead of I'm done. Your failure isn't a detour. It is your path. The struggles, the setbacks, those are the path. And the person who emerges, that person is exactly who you need to be for what's coming next. Stop trying to fix what happened. It's done. The energy you're spending on regret is energy you need for rebuilding. The mental space you're giving to mistakes is space you need for imagining what's possible from here. Put this in the comments. My failures are my foundation. Number 4. The silence is teaching you a language you've never spoken. Nobody prepared you for this kind of quiet. The suffocating kind where your phone doesn't ring, opportunities don't come, and the world keeps spinning while you're standing still. You watch people celebrate their wins while you're sitting there with nothing to report except that you're still here. This silence feels like punishment, like you're being ignored by the universe itself. Epictetus said, "If you want toimprov, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Real growth happens when you stop performing for the crowd. When you stop needing their validation to know you're moving forward. What if silence isn't emptiness? What if it's full of something you couldn't hear before because your life was too loud? John Cage wrote a musical piece 4 minutes 33 seconds, where musicians sit out their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds without playing a note. That point wasn't silence. The point was hearing what was already there. He said there is no such thing as silence. Something is always happening that makes a sound. Your life is in a rest right now. Not because the music is over, but because this pause is part of the composition. In this pause, you can finally hear things you've been drowning out for years. Your own thoughts without everyone else's opinions. Your actual desires instead of adopted ones. Your real voice underneath all the performing. The silence is stripping away distractions. You can't busy yourself with success. You can't numb yourself with constant achievement. You have to sit with yourself, the real self, the one you've been running from by staying busy. And that self has things to tell you. Things you couldn't hear when your calendar was full and everyone wanted a piece of you. Things about what actually matters. What you actually believe. What you actually want your life to be about. When you strip away everything you're supposed to want, most people go their entire lives without this silence. They fill every gap with noise, with other people's voices, with society's expectations. They die without knowing who they actually were underneath all that. But you don't get that option. The silence found you. You can fight it, resist it, try desperately to fill it, or you can listen to it. Learn from it. Let it teach you things about yourself that you could never learn in the noise. This is where you figure out what you actually think, what you actually feel, what you actually need. The silence is giving you back to yourself. The silence is also teaching you this. You don't need constant validation to exist. You don't need applause to have value. All those years, you measured your worth by how many people were paying attention. You were giving your power away. But in silence, nobody's watching. And you're still here, still breathing, still valuable, still worthy. Not because of what you produce or prove to anyone, but because your existence itself has meaning independent of anyone else's acknowledgement. This is the hardest lesson. You have to learn to be enough for yourself, to validate your own experience, to witness your own life, to know that what you're going through matters even if nobody else sees it. The silence is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's showing you that you contain entire universes inside you that you never had time to visit because you were too busy trying to exist in everyone else's. Stop trying to escape it. Sit in it. Let it be uncomfortable. Let it be lonely. And in that acceptance, you'll hear something you've been missing. Your own voice telling you who you really are. Share this affirmation below. I am learning to hear myself. Number 5. Your weakness is the crack where your power gets in. You've spent your whole life trying to eliminate your weaknesses. Become the strong, unbreakable version that never needs help, never shows vulnerability, never admits something is too hard. And where did that get you? Here, exhausted, alone, pretending to be fine while falling apart inside. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you are distressed by an external thing, it's not the thing itself that troubles you, but only your judgment of it. Your weakness isn't the problem. Your judgment that weakness makes you worthless is the problem." The idea that strength means having no weaknesses is a lie. Every ounce of energy you spend hiding your vulnerablenesses is energy you're not spending on actually living. The Japanese practice wabi-sabi, finding beauty in imperfection. They see a cracked bowl and see where the light can enter. They understand perfection is dead. It's lifeless. Real beauty, real strength comes from the broken places. Your weakness isn't what's wrong with you. It's what's most right about you. It's where you're actually human instead of performing humanity. It's where you connect with other people who are also struggling. It's where your real power lives if you're brave enough to stop fighting it. Think about when you finally admitted you couldn't do it alone. When you let someone see you struggling instead of showing your highlight reel. What happened? Did you become less or did you finally become real? Your weakness is your access point to other people. It's how you build real relationships instead of transactional loans. Nobody trusts perfection. Nobody connects with someone who has nostrils. But more than that, your weakness is where you grow. A bone fat breaks and heals is stronger at the break point. Your body doesn't just repair. It overcompensates. It builds extra strength exactly where weakness was exposed. Your spirit works the same way. Thieving you're most ashamed of. That's where your next level of strength is trying to emerge. But it can't break through while you're using all your energy to pretend it doesn't exist. Stop comparing your weaknesses to other people's strengths. You're seeing their curated version. Everyone is carrying something heavy. Everyone has a weakness they're terrified to expose. You're not uniquely broken. You're just uniquely honest with yourself. Right now. And that honesty, that's not weakness. That's the beginning of real strength. The kind that doesn't crumble when tested because it's built on truth. Second, that can say, I need help, without feeling like a failure. Your weakness is the doorway to your authenticity. And your authenticity is the only thing that actually matters. Everything else is performance. Let yourself be weak. Let yourself need help. Let yourself not have all things worse. Let yourself be human in all the messy, complicated ways that means . And watch what happens when you stop using energy to hide and start using it to grow. Write this down and commence. My weakness is where my truth lives. Number 6. The version of you that's dying needed to die. You're grieving someone, but it's not who you think. You're grieving yourself, the older version of you, the version that existed before everything cracked open. And part of you keeps trying to pull that old self back, as if forcing them to return will make life feel normal again. But they're gone, and they needed to go. Seneca wrote, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality. You're not mourning who you truly were. You're mourning who you thought you were. The image, the performance, the version of you that never fully fit, but felt easier than admitting you were lost. That old identity was shaped for a world that no longer exists, built from beliefs that were too small for who you're becoming. That version said yes when silence would have been wiser. Chased approval instead of purpose. Lived life from the outside in. Here rests truth. The old you wasn't destroyed. They were outgrown. In nature, some forests require fire to grow. When flames sweep through, it looks like destruction. But beneath the ashes, the soil becomes richer. Seeds that could never open under normal conditions finally crack and bloom only because of the heat. If you walked through that forest mid-fire, you'd think everything was ending. But give it time and it becomes even more alive. That's you. You're in the fire season. You see smoke and think you're losing everything. But the truth is your soil is being renewed. The seeds inside you, the ones that only open under pressure, are starting to break open. Your dreams needed this fire. Your strength needed this fire. Your next chapter needed this fire. Think of a mirror that has been fogged up for years. Fingerprints, dust, old smudges, streaks from everyone who ever touched it. You look into it and say, this is who I am. But you're not seeing yourself clearly. When someone finally wipes the mirror clean, the process isn't gentle. It takes pressure, rubbing, scrubbing, friction. It feels like something is being erased, but nothing valuable is being removed. Unlived layers that weren't truly part of you. That's what you're experiencing. The friction you feel is the old identity being wiped away. Not to destroy you, but to reveal you. You're in that uncomfortable stage where you didn't recognize yourself yet, where the old version is gone and the new version isn't fully formed. But stop trying to resurrect the past. Stop trying to be the person you used to be before you knew what you now know. The you who avoided conflict had to die. The you who hid your pain had to die. The you who tried to belong everywhere except within yourself had to die. Those versions served their purpose. They kept you alive, but they can't take you where you are going next. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it feels like losing yourself. But you're not losing yourself. You're meeting yourself. And meeting your real self for the first time is always disorienting. You're not falling apart. You're being rebuilt. The person you're becoming is more aligned, more grounded, more capable of carrying the life you actually want. The opportunities that are coming need a stronger you, a braver you, a clearer you. The old version couldn't have survived the future you're stepping into. You're not dying, you're becoming. And soon this pain won't feel like loss. It'll feel like freedom. Number 7, your timing wasn't wrong. The clock you were watching was. You thought you'd be further by now. You had a timeline. Milestones you were supposed to hit by certain ages, and you're nowhere near where you thought you'd be. So you decided you're behind, you're late, you're failing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Time is a sort of river of passing events, and strong is its current." You're not behind. You're in the current, moving at the exact speed your journey requires. What if the timeline you're measuring yourself against was never real? Society gave you a clock that has nothing to do with your actual life. Graduate at 22, career by 25, married by 30, as if everyone's journey runs on the same schedule. As if life is a factory assembly line. But life doesn't work like that. Real growth doesn't work like that. Transformation doesn't happen on a schedule you can post on LinkedIn. It happens in its own time, following rhythms you can't control. In deep sea diving, the diver must rise to the surface slowly. If they ascend too fast, their body collapses under the pressure. They get the bends, a dangerous condition caused by rising before the body is ready. Going up too fast is more dangerous than staying deep. And yet you punish yourself for not ascending faster in life. But your pace isn't a delay. It's protection. You are surfacing at the exact speed required to survive your journey and sustain the growth that's coming. You've been trying to force your life to match someone else's calendar, and all it's done is exhaust you, made you feel perpetually behind, perpetually inadequate. But look at the people you think are ahead of you. How many are actually happy? How many built lives that look impressive but feel hollow? How many hit all the milestones and then realize they didn't mean what they thought? Your timing isn't wrong. It's yours. And yours doesn't look like anyone else's because you're not any O'Neill's. You're on a completely different path that requires completely different timing. Glaciers move so slowly that they appear still to the human eye. People stare at them and think nothing is happening. But they are moving quietly, powerfully, reshaping entire landscapes over time. They carve valleys, form rivers, shift mountains, transform the earth in ways nothing fast could ever do. Slow doesn't mean stuck. Slow means you're becoming strong enough to reshape your own life with lasting impact. Your progress may look invisible right now, but your transformation is happening beneath the surface. Steady, unstoppable, undeniable. You're not behind. You're in the season you need to be in. The season where you learn what can only be learned through struggle, where you develop depth that early success would have prevented, where you build the foundation for something real instead of something fast. And what you're building, it's going to matter more than what you thought you were supposed to build. It's going to be truer, more sustainable, more aligned with who you actually are. But it takes the time it takes. Stop comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. Stop measuring your beginning against their middle. You have no idea what they went through, what they sacrificed, what they are still struggling with behind the facade. Your life is unfolding exactly as it needs to. Not as you wish it would, not as you planned, but as it needs to for you to become who you're meant to become. Trust that even when it feels slow, even when it feels like everyone else is ahead, you're not supposed to catch up. You're supposed to stay on your path at your pace, learning your lessons, and the time it's taking. That's not wasted time. That's growing time, building time, becoming time. Number 8. The weight you're carrying isn't yours to carry alone. You've been carrying everything by yourself. Other people's expectations, their disappointments, their needs, your own pain on top of all that. And you carry it quietly because you learned that asking for help means you're weak. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And master in yours doesn't mean carrying everything alone. It means knowing when to put things down, when to ask for help, when to admit some weights were never yours to carry. So you carry all of it until your knees buckle and your hands shake. And even then you can put it down. You just try to rearrange it because that's what you do. That's who you've always been. The strong one, the capable one. But strength isn't carrying everything alone. That's stubbornness. That's fear. That's pride disguised as resilience. Ants can carry many times their body weight, but they don't work alone. They work in colonies. They share the load. Even the strongest among us are stronger together. No ant says, "I should be able to carry this entire leaf by myself." They just call for backup. You think asking for help diminishes you, makes you a burden. But what if it's actually the opposite? What if asking for help is the bravest thing you can do? What if it's proof that you're strong enough to admit you're human? Think about people in your life who've asked you for help. Did you think less of them? Or did you feel honored that they trusted you enough to be vulnerable? Other people want to help you. They want to matter in your life, but you won't let them. You keep them at arm's length with your "I'm fine" and your "I've got it" and your refusal to admit that you were drowning. Maybe you learned this because people who were supposed to help you didn't, because vulnerability got used against you. So you decided never again. You decided you'd rather carry it alone than risk that pain. But not everyone is them. Not every hand reaching toward you is going to drop you. Some people are genuinely safe. Some people actually see you and want to help. But you have to let them close enough to try. Start small. Pick one person, one safe person. Let them see one piece of what you are carrying. Say, "I'm not okay," instead of "I'm fine." Say, "I'm struggling," instead of pretending you're not. Watch what happens. Most of the time, they'll step up. They'll show you that sharing the weight doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. And here's the other thing. Some of what you're carrying isn't even yours. You picked up other people's shame, their expectations, their unfinished business. You've been carrying their disappointment, their judgment, their needs that they should meeting themselves. Put it down. Start examining what's in your arms. Pick up each piece and ask, "Is this mine? Is this my responsibility?" And if the answer is no, put it down. You were never meant to carry the world in your shoulders. You were meant to carry your own journey, your own growth. And even that, you were meant to share it with people who care about you. Stop being so strong that you're actually weak. Stop being so independent that you're actually isolated. Let someone in. Let someone help. Not because you can do it alone, but because you don't have to. Comment if you feel this. I am allowed to need help. Music. Number 9. The life you're building in secret is more real than the one you lost in public. Nobody sees what you're doing right now. There's no audience for the 3 a.m. moments. When you choose to keep going. No applause for the small decisions you make every day to try again. No recognition for the quiet strength it takes to rebuild yourself in the dark. And that invisibility makes you feel like what you're doing doesn't count. Like if nobody's watching, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe you should have something to show by now. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." You're not poor because you have nothing to show. You're rich because you are building something real instead of performing something fake. The most important work you'll ever do happens when nobody's looking. When you plant bamboo, you water it for 4 years and nothing happens above ground. No visible progress, just faith that something's happening beneath the surface. Then in 5th year, it grows 90 feet in 6 weeks. But it's not really 6 weeks off growth. It's 5 years of root development nobody could see. You're in your underground years building roots, creating foundation, doing invisible work that will support everything that comes next. And it feels like nothing's happening because there's nothing to photograph, nothing to post. But you are. Every day you keep going, you're building roots. Every time you try again after failing, you're building roots. Every moment you sit with your pain instead of numbing it. All of it is building the foundation for your 90th growth moment. The life you lost in public. That was the performance, the version you presented to the world. It looked impressive, but you know the truth. It was exhausting. It required constant maintenance. It needed validation to feel real. But this life you were building in secret, this is the real one. This is where you're becoming someone who doesn't need an audience to have value. Where you're learning what you actually think without the pressure of other people's opinions. The privacy of your struggle is actually a gift. It means you don't have to perform your healing. You don't have to package your pain into something inspirational before you've processed it. You can be messy, you can be uncertain. You can take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back without judging. Most people never get this. They live their entire lives on stage performing every moment. They never know who they actually are underneath the performance because they never have privacy to find out. But you're being forced to find yourself outside that system. To build an identity that doesn't depend on external validation. To create meaning that exists whether anyone acknowledges it or not. And that's real power, the kind that can't be taken away because it was never given to you by anyone else. You're learning to carry your own light, to trust your own path even when nobody else can see where you're going. To know your own worth even when the world isn't reflecting it back. The people who matter will see what you're building eventually. Not because you advertise it, but because it will be undeniable. When something is built on a real foundation, when it comes from a true place, it shows, it radiates. But you have to stop waiting for permission to value what you're doing. Stop waiting for recognition to believe your efforts matter. You're the only witness you need right now. And one day, years from now, when you're standing 90 feet tall and people ask how you did it, you'll remember these invisible years. You'll remember the days nobody saw. The nights you fought through alone. And you'll know that this was when it really happened. Not when everyone could see it, when nobody could. This is your real life. The one you're building in the dark. The one that's roots deep instead of surface level. The one that's yours in a way nothing else has ever been. Don't rush it. Let it grow in secret. Let it become what it needs to become without the pressure of other people's expectations. Your time in the light is coming, but right now you're supposed to be underground, building something strong enough to support what you're going to become. Type this below. My invisible work has visible value. Number 10. The hope you need isn't the hope you lost. You want the old hope back. The easy kind that believed things would work out simply because you wanted them to. Second, that saw the future as bright and clear. The kind that didn't know what you know now, didn't carry what you carry now. That hope is gone. And you've been treating that loss like it's the end of everything. Like without that naive optimism, there's no point in continuing. But that hope was a child's hope, and you're not a child anymore. Marcus Aurelius wrote, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking. He wasn't saying life would be easy. He was saying that hope doesn't come from circumstances. It comes from how you meet them. There's a different kind of hope available to you now. Not the blind kind that ignores reality. The clear-eyed kind that sees reality exactly as it is and chooses to keep going anyway. Not hope that says everything will definitely work out. Hope that says, I don't know what will happen, but I'm willing to find out. The philosopher Albert Camus wrote about Sisyphus, the man condemned to push a boulder up a mountain only to watch it roll back down forever. A story about meaningless suffering. But Camus said something radical. One must imagine Sisyphus happy, not because the task gets easier, not because the boulder stops rolling down, but because Sisyphus decides that the struggle itself is enough, that he doesn't need a happy ending to make his efforts meaningful. That's the hope you need now. Not hope for a specific outcome. Hope that you can handle whatever comes. Hope that meaning exists in the journey, even if the destination isn't what you planned. Hope that your life has value, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. This new hope doesn't promise you anything. It doesn't guarantee success or happiness or fairness. It just says you've persevered so far. You've made it through every bad day up until this point. Your track record for getting through difficult times is 100%. And that's not nothing. You're building what some call tragic optimism. The ability to maintain hope and find meaning despite pain, despite loss, despite the inevitable suffering that comes with being human. It's not pretending the pain doesn't exist. It's the deep knowing that you can endure, that you can grow through difficulty, that you can create meaning even in circumstances you wouldn't choose. This hope doesn't need things to be perfect. It doesn't need guarantees. It just needs you to keep showing up, to keep trying, to keep believing that your existence matters even when you can't see the point, to keep moving even when you don't know where you're going. And here's what this hope gives you, that the old hope never could. It's unbreakable. The old hope shattered when life got hard because it was built on the assumption that life wouldn't get hard. But this new hope, it's built on the knowledge that life issued and you can handle it, that things will go wrong and you'll figure it out, that you'll lose things and keep going. This hope has scar tissue. It's been through fire and came out changed but not destroyed. It knows what it's talking about because it's been tested. It's earned. It's real in a way that innocent optimism could never be. You don't need to believe everything happens for a reason. You don't need to believe there's a grand plan. You just need to believe that you're capable of continuing, that tomorrow might be different than today, that you contain strength to handle uncertainty. This hope lives in small moments, in the decision to get out of bed when you don't want to, in the choice to eat something nourishing when you barely have appetite, in the act of reaching out when you feel completely alone, in tiny movements forward that don't feel like progress, but accumulate into something over time. It's not dramatic. It's not Instagram worthy. It's quiet and steady and unglamorous. It's the hope that says I'll try one more day instead of everything's going to be amazing. It's the hope that finds one small thing to appreciate instead of needing everything to be perfect. It's the hope that can hold both grief and gratitude, both pain and possibility. You lost the hope you had, and that loss made you wiser. It made you stronger. It made you more real. The hope you're building now is better because it's based on truth instead of fantasy. It's sustainable because it doesn't require perfect circumstances. It's powerful because it's chosen, not given. You run it going back to who you were before you knew pain. You're going forward as someone who knows pain and chooses hope anyway. Not because you're naive, because you're brave, not because it's easy, because it's necessary, not because you know it will work, because not trying is worse than trying and failing. This is your hope now. Different than before. Deeper, scarred, real, unbreakable. Built not on what you wish were true, but on what you know you can survive. And that's more than enough to keep going. So here we are. You made it through. 10 truths about what it means to lose everything and still be standing. And I know you're still hurting, still uncertain, still carrying weight that makes every step feel impossible. But you're here, and that means something. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your story doesn't end in this darkness. This chapter is brutal. Yes, it's unfair and exhausting, and it's testing you in ways you never imagined.